with Premier Pools and Spas. I want to say thank you for having me over at your house earlier in the week. I really appreciate the opportunity to learn about what you're hoping to accomplish in your backyard and just learn about what your goals are there. And I really appreciate the time you spent with me just discussing all the whys behind why you would want a pool in your backyard. And so I put together a design for you. I try to encourage my customers to understand that pools they're expensive. They're big construction projects. They're complex. They're expensive. They're one of the more pricey things you'll ever buy. So I always encourage my customers to really embrace a true design consultation process. That's what we want to do here at Premier Pools and Spas. We want to make sure that you get all of the information that you need to make the best decision for yourself, because these are expensive, and once it's built, it's extremely expensive to change. And I want to make sure you get it right the first time. So my job really is to act as a consultant in these first stages, and I encourage you to go through the entire process with me. Once you land on a design you love, I'll go ahead and price things out with you. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at our first draft. I want to make sure that you understand what the project could be. And even though some of the things in the design, we wouldn't do all the things in the design, like we don't do landscaping, we don't do landscaping lighting, we basically just take care of the pool and the hardscapes. But I want to show you what the possibilities are, and I often encourage my customers to use me to put together a master plan. So let's get a little sneak peek preview of your design, and then I'll be back to discuss some of the details. All right, let's take a look together. And hopefully you enjoyed that design. I want to go ahead and walk through the details right now, just so you understand the why behind what I did and where we're going with this. Only Alan, I didn't get a chance to speak with you. I just spoke with your lovely wife, so I didn't get your input. She did share some of your preferences with me, and what I wanted to do was come up with a pool that might meet both of your needs as far as aesthetics and functionality, of course. And what I went with a geometric pool, but with some curvature on the front end. The curvature really does give a nice look to it. It gives you a little more opportunity to dress it up with some landscaping and planters and things. I put a bunch of features in this pool that is totally optional. So for example, you see some scuppers spilling out of the wall. Those are great, but there's also things like shear descents and deck jets and all kinds of different features, all at different price points. And we can get any type of water effect that you're really looking for. But of course, I want to make sure that I'm working with your budget and making sure that we're putting something together that is going to be within your budget and what you prefer visually as well. So once again, we've got a nice looking pool here. This is from 3.5 to 6 feet deep at this point. If you go over 6 feet deep, then you're going to run into some extra costs because you would require double the rebar, the steel, in the deep end to meet building codes, so that kind of affects the price a little bit. So as long as you're 6 feet and under, as far as depth, you won't experience those extra costs. I put in a nice big tanning deck in here with some bubblers. The bubblers really help circulate the water on that tanning ledge area. Very important to keep that water moving because it can get uncomfortably warm on there during the middle of the summer with the water heating up, hitting that tanning deck pretty directly and heating up quickly. I went ahead and put an entryway on the outside of the tanning ledge with an extra bench over here. And of course, we have our second mode of egress, which is another bench. I put an oversized bench. It doesn't need to be this big, but you do have to have a second way to get out of the pool in order to meet building code. We do have 2 lights in your pool. We do 2 lights standard, 2 LED lights that change colors that you can control from an app on your phone, just like you can control your filtration and your pump from your phone. Not your filtration, but rather your pump from your phone. And of course, you can control all your water features from your phone as well. So what I have here is a pool that is, let's look at the size so that you understand the scope of this. If we look at the size of the pool, our envelope is the green rectangle that goes around that pool. That envelope is 30 feet by just over 16 feet, so 30, we'll call it 30 by 16. Area is 424.74 square feet. Our perimeter measurement is 87.8 or 87, about 87 and 3/4 feet. And then the volume of this pool as it stands is 11,117 gallons. With the decking right now in this entire solution, we have some decking. The total square footage of the decking right now is 1,050 square feet. Of course, the decking can be modified to be whatever you want it, really. So I dressed up the decking with some borders and some visual stuff. We have a travertine border on the outside. I've got a marble interior. There's a bunch of different natural stone pavers. You can go with concrete pavers as well. It's a little bit more affordable. And then, of course, we have this wall in the back. You have the slope that goes upwards in the backyard, which is going to require a retention wall if we're going to build a pool. Now, what I did here is instead of building a 3-foot retention wall in the back and then having the pool all the way into the ground, what I did was I split the difference. I gave you an 18-inch exposed beam of the pool with an 18-inch wall in the back. It is actually cheaper to build the exposed beam than it is to build the retention wall. So I'm always looking for a way to reduce the cost for a project, but anytime there's any elevation changes in the significant elevation changes in the yard, there's going to have to be some type of retention wall / exposed beam scenario. So what we have is a retention wall that wraps around the whole solution, holding the dirt back. Also serves as a nice seating area, and people can sit on that wall because it's not super tall. And then, of course, you can dress it up with a number of facades. These columns I put in here for aesthetics. I did put fire bowls in there. Fire bowls are pricey. I just like to put things in there that look really good to give you an idea of what the possibilities are. So I went and put some fire bowls in there on those columns. I have a split travertine on the facade and a smooth travertine on the wall itself. So the columns split travertine, smooth travertine for the wall, travertine on the top. We do travertine standard for our wall caps and our coping on the pool. It is an upgraded option, but we do it standard because it's really, we found the best material to last out in the weather with the salt water and the iron content in the water, and you know, it really lasts well. It has a high slip coefficient, so it doesn't get slippery when it's wet. It's just a good solution. I did put some landscaping around your pool. We don't do the landscaping, but I do like to give my customers an idea of what the possibilities are. I would put your equipment pad over here, or on the other side. Really, I'd put it on the side. We need to stay away from windows. I didn't put any windows on the side of your house, only on the backyard portion. So I'm not sure. I'd have to check my notes, but we may have some windows here. The reason I bring up the windows is we can't put the equipment pad under a window. So we need to make sure we put it where there are no windows. Since your tortoise is going to have a space, and from what I understand, you're going to move that fence back to give some space. I delineated a little spot for the tortoise. I probably wouldn't put the tortoise in with the equipment pad because they can chew on things and get into stuff, and you know, I just don't think that's a good idea. So wherever we put the pad, we'll want to make sure that your tortoise cannot get to that pad. And once again, I dressed it up with some more landscaping. I put some planters. I put a rock bed in here. I put some traditional plants that do work in this area. You know, azaleas, big leaf stuff. I've got variegated ginger and, camellias rather. So just a combination of things that do work here. I do collaborate with a lot of landscapers. So I'm not an expert, but I do know what can grow in our climate. And I do have a fire bowl. This is kind of a decorative fire bowl. Obviously, anything decorative like this would not be cheap, but you can put, a less expensive fire bowl there. We can build a custom fire bowl for you. Just keep in mind that custom fire bowls are very expensive. You can purchase fire pits that you can put anywhere you want that look really good, and they're just propane powered. They work really, really well. So I would recommend that if you're up against a tighter budget. But we can custom build fire pits as well. So, once again, lots of stuff going on in here. With the pool itself, we would put actually... hold on. Of course, when we have our follow-up meeting, I'll be going over a lot of this stuff with you, but I just realized I forgot to put my main drain in there, so I'm going to put a main drain. We have a MDX main drain. This is an upgraded main drain that actually accepts debris. Why is that important? Well, it means that you're not going to have to fish things out of the pool. You can actually push them towards the main drain that sucks it up and then takes it over to the equipment pad. You would also have 2 skimmers in this pool. All right, so 2 skimmers in your pool total. And let's see, what else? We have a pebble finish in your pool. I highly recommend going with a pebble finish. Don't put plaster in your pool. Even though it's the cheapest way to get a pool built, your plaster is going to fail in about 10 years and you're going to have to get it replastered, and it's expensive. It'll cost you about at least $15,000 in 10 years to replaster that pool. So with the pebble finish, you don't have to do that. It's going to be a few $1,000s more up front, but definitely worth it. A bunch of different color options. It looks better, it feels better, and it's going to last forever. And you have a nice 30-year warranty with it. I put furniture out here because I wanted you to see what it would look like with furniture. I want you to see the size and the scale and the scope. Obviously, with this furniture, there's still plenty of room to walk around and navigate around that pool. But once again, I was just basically doing a preliminary design, just a first draft, if you will. I fully expect you to want to make changes. These pools, a pool like this, can vary in cost $50,000 depending on what features and what hydraulics and the equipment, et cetera, et cetera. Just as a rule of thumb, the more you spend up front, not necessarily on water features like these guys right here, not scuppers and bubblers. And I'm not talking about scuppers and bubblers. I'm talking about the equipment that makes your pool operate. The more you spend up front, the less you're going to spend down the road and the less time you're going to spend taking care of your pool. So with that said, when we get to the point where you approve a design, I'll go ahead and build a proposal with you. We'll use that process as a way for you to understand all your options, and then you can see where we can go with everything, and you can steer me towards your budget. Ultimately, I want to build you the best pool possible. What's different about Premier Pools is we care deeply about how much money you're going to spend maintaining that pool after it's built. So I don't want you to spend a fortune on electricity, chemicals, maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. We build our pools to be the easiest pools to maintain and the cheapest pools to operate. And that's very, very important, especially if you ever decide to sell this home. So with that said, there's your backyard. I did give you a shed over here. I put in a shed. I don't have a ramp on there yet, but where you can store your lawn equipment that's over in this corner right now. And of course, your little area for your tortoise. Important to keep your pets happy and healthy and safe. And then once again at night, this is what you're looking at. We do not do this lighting on the exterior. I'm just giving you some ideas here, right? So all the landscape lighting is something you'd want a landscape artist to do. But we can design it for you nonetheless. All right, with that, I hope you have a great weekend. I look forward to speaking with you very soon. Bye now.